Now, Archbishop Vigano, here's the non-Catholic Pope part. Archbishop Vigano, we have come to the point, he says, we have come to the point that even simple people with little knowledge of doctrinal issues understand that we have a non-Catholic Pope, at least in the strict sense of the term. This poses some problems of a canonical nature that are not inconsiderable, which it is not up to us to solve, but which sooner or later will have to be addressed, end quote. Would y'all like me to put that on the screen? I would like to. If you please bear with me, I will put this quote on the screen. Archbishop Vigano. We have come to the point, he says, that even simple people with little knowledge of doctrinal issues, we're those people. We're the simple people, the little people. With little knowledge of doctrinal issues, understand that we have a non-Catholic Pope. A non-Catholic Pope. What does this even mean? He says, in the strictest sense of the term, this poses some problems of a canonical nature that are not inconsiderable, which it is not up to us to solve, but which sooner or later will have to be addressed. There are priests out there right now, when they celebrate the Mass, they do not say Francis's name. Many of them say the name Benedict. I'm not endorsing this. I'm just reporting it. Y'all know my position. My position is Francis is putatively the Pope. Until the Diocese of Rome, the Apostolic See, and the College of Cardinals, or a future Pope tells me so. If Cardinal Burke is telling me Francis is the Pope, I was at the conclave, it's all legit. As a layman who has no authority in the church, having a YouTube channel means you still have no authority in the church, no magisterium, nothing. I'm a nobody. My opinion doesn't matter. Until that happens, I, every night, pray my rosary for the holy intentions of Pope Francis, the holy intentions, not all the intentions, the holy intentions, because he is putatively my Pope. With the errors, with the scandals, financial and sexual, I often question, how can the charism of the papacy, the vicar of Christ, the Petrine ministry be attached to this man? I'll be honest. Y'all aren't surprised for me hearing that. And I've talked about it on many shows before, repeatedly, about how I'm reading Robert Bellarmine. You can tell I've been reading this book. It's highlighted. Even Bellarmine says, now the fifth true opinion is that a pope who is a manifest heretic ceases in himself to be pope and head, just as he ceases in himself to be a Christian and member of the body of Christ, whereby he can be judged and punished by the church, end quote. Now, if that's true, that means a heretical pope himself falls from the papacy. A lot of people would say, well, obviously that he's a manifest heretic, so he has to not be the pope. The difficulty is, then you have to pick up another Bellarmine book. This is Tome 2, on the church. And in Book 1, Chapter 9 of Tome 2, he says, the fourth reason is suspicion of heresy in the Roman pontiff. By the way, all these theologians and doctors of the church do entertain the idea that a pope could be infected by heresy. He says the fourth reason is suspicion of heresy in the Roman pontiff, if perhaps it might happen, or if he were an incorrigible tyrant. For then a general council ought to be gathered either to depose the pope if he should be found to be a heretic, or certainly to admonish him if he seemed incorrigible in morals, as is related in the 8th Council Act, so on and so forth. So it has to be declared by a council, by the church. It can't be bloggers. It can't be YouTubers. It can't be people on Twitter. There has to be an ecclesiastical declaration. But let's be honest, so many of us are wondering these questions. How can it be that I have in my notes 12 popes who defend not just the admissibility, but the morality and the justice of the death penalty, and then Francis says it's inadmissible? How can it be that England, the entire nation of England, except for one bishop and Thomas More and several laity, but all the bishops, they went into heresy and schism and started the Church of England under Henry VIII because Henry VIII wanted to maintain his status in the church as not excommunicated, but also have a side wife or divorce and remarry and have a new wife. And yet we're being told that it's the Episcopal, it's the bishop's custom in certain places like Malta and South America, based on Amoris Laetitia, that what was told to Henry VIII you can't do, it's a mortal sin to go to hell, and you're putting the whole nation in a schism, now in 2021 is not. How is this possible? Or that Henry VIII couldn't appoint bishops, but China can appoint bishops. These are problems. You don't have to be a deep theologian to realize there are problems. Now, what does this mean? What does Vigano mean? He says, look, it's not up for us to solve it. And I honestly think in some of the trad wars that go on online, you've got different groups. You've got your Novus Ordo conservative group. You've got your Indult Diocesan Latin Mass. You got your FSSP, your Institute of Christ the King, your SSPX, and you got your Sede Vacantis, who are like, we have epistemic knowledge that there is definitely no pope. All this. I honestly think, if you listen to the gospel in the Latin Mass yesterday, a certain amount of humility is required. I'm not so sure that any of us fully understand how we got into this mess. Yes, I wrote a book about it. Even still, I'm learning along the way. I know that something happened. I know that a disease happened. I know illness. I know discouragement. I know confusion. I know lack of mass attendance happened and lack of ordinations happened. I know all that. But how exactly God allowed this and how exactly God's going to bring us out, I don't know. You don't know. No one on the internet knows. It is a mystery, as Vigano says, and Our Lady of La Salette, and Bishop Schneider. There's an eclipse going on. How do we get out? I don't know. But it seems that a major part of the problem right now is that you can be globalist, eco-theology, you could be writing blurbs all day for James Martin, you could be doing all of this stuff, and you're going to get rah, thumbs up, likes from the Pope. And you say, I'd like to go to traditional Latin Mass, and it's boom, no, bad dog. So this to me was the most explosive statement in the document right here. He says, simple people with little knowledge of doctrinal issues understand that we have a non-Catholic Pope. I don't understand how we can have a non-Catholic Pope. Do you? Do you understand? It's a mystery. It's messed up.